Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I want to tell you all about my show, the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we do a thorough analysis on the biggest issues and trends within the pro wrestling industry. We talk a lot about pro wrestling media, we talk a lot about fan culture and wrestling's place within general pop culture, and we talk about the broader influences that are shaping the way we discuss and analyze the pro wrestling industry. We've had some of the brightest minds in the pro wrestling intelligentsia on the show, including WrestleNomics host Brandon Thurston, both Rich Craich and Joe Lanza from the Flagship Wrestling Podcast, Trevor Dame from the Through the Years podcast, and a whole lot more. This isn't a show for hot takes. It's not a show recapping the latest episode of television. This is a show focusing on the biggest topics in pro wrestling and doing a deep dive on the real stories behind the surface level analysis you might find elsewhere. The Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a try. Thanks.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome to Jumping Bomb Audio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Jumping Bomb Audio, the number one show all about the world of Joshi Pro Wrestling. My name is Taylor, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend and co-host and the April Fool of this podcast, Kelly. Kelly, hello.
Hello, everybody. I have my jester hat on. Would you like me to do a dance?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm doing it right now.
I believe
doing a dance.
How exciting in audio format.
Yeah, dancing
maybe-
for the king.
Maybe you can juggle a little bit.
Oh, I can't juggle. I'm bad at juggling.
Well, Kelly, we got a lot to talk about on this episode of Jumping Bomb Audio. Some big shows that happened and some big shows that are coming up as we get close to WrestleMania weekend, which you may want to call Joshi Mania weekend, with a lot of Joshi going on.
Yeah, and there's shows on there. They're not big. They're not really small. They just exist.
Like many WrestleMania shows. We'll see how many people end up watching them, or if some of them are even watchable in any format except for being there live. But let's dive right in. But before we do, we have to make our plugs as always. Follow us on Twitter at JBombAudio. You can follow Kelly at Comic Geek Kelly. You can follow me at Taymambo. Subscribe to us on your podcast app of choice. And if that app of choice happens to be Apple Podcasts, we would love a 5-star rating and review. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can donate to the show at redcircle.com/shows/jumping-bomb-audio. So let's get right into it. The first show we're going to be talking about today is Stardom Cinderella Tournament Finals from March 20th at the Nagoya International Conference Hall in front of 994 fans. Kelly, I know you didn't watch all of this show, but what did you think of the show that you did see?
I enjoyed it. For being a show that I almost completely forgot to watch, just because of where it fell in the week, I enjoyed this quite a bit.
I thought it was a fine show. I thought there really wasn't anything too bad about it, but also there really wasn't a lot that was very good. So it was just sort of a show that I watched in many ways. But let's dive into it. The first match, a singles match, Mayu Iwatani defeating the recently announced abandoner of Stardom, Yuzuki, in 7 minutes and 46 seconds. Kelly, that was really my big takeaway from this match, was thinking, wow, Yuzuki is moving to Rossi World.
Yeah. You really just hate to see Mayu burying these rookies like this. Just destroying them. But you know what?
Out.
Yep, just burying them on the way out. She's going to be taking pins from everybody. Not like how she used to be, just winning matches left and right. But I really like this match. I thought it rocked. Mayu pushing Yuzuki to the limit was pretty good. I thought Yuzuki looked really good here. I went 3.5 stars. I thought this was really fun.
I thought it was a fun opener. I didn't really have that many thoughts beyond that. Feels like in general, we're sort of at a weird moment when it has been announced. I guess we should talk about this generally more than going through, but it has been announced that Utami, Julia, Mirai, Mai Sakurai, and Yuzuki will all be leaving very shortly to join the Rossi promotion.
Rossi-dom.
We got a little bit more information about that promotion this week. I think they're going to be announcing more roster members. The first shows in April, there will be more than 5 people on the roster. Most likely some foreign talent, so we'll have to see. But I have to say, if I'm Stardom, we knew Julia was leaving.
Yeah.
Utami's a pretty big one. Other than that, they really have gotten off pretty scot-free, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it is not the complete exodus that it sounded like it was going to be initially.
It's only 5 people, and I would say at least 2 of those 5 people, no offense to them, Yuzuki is a rookie. She could be very good in the future, but she's very young. And so you say, well, it could be a loss in a couple years if she goes over to Rossi and becomes a big star, but we don't know that now. She could equally in 6 months say, oh, actually, I hate this and I'm retiring. Mai Sakurai, has gotten better. I know a lot of people really like this sort of rich person character. To me, she's no loss.
No, I like Mai Sakurai quite a bit now, but yeah, she's not a major loss at all.
Mirai, I'm sure there are other people who think that she's a bigger loss than I do. As anyone who listens to the show, I have not really connected with her in any way. As I said, Julia, we already knew was leaving, so that one sort of is, it was already happening regardless. And of course, Utami is a big loss. But really, if I think you told someone 2 months ago when people were saying, oh my God, 20 people are going to be leaving Stardom, if you said really the one big loss is going to be Utami, I think people would be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean she's been downcycled for a while now, it seems. So it's not the biggest loss. She had the big run that I think she was going to have in the company, and for now, I think it's not a major loss for them.
I guess it's, more people could leave. We heard that Mayu is interested in leaving but has a longer contract than some people. Maybe she leaves at some point. Maybe there's down the road, we get another big group of people leaving, then maybe it could be a loss. But I think right now Stardom is, I think they're okay.
Yeah.
The next match on this show is an 8-person tag team match. The foursome of Empress Nexus Venus, Hanako, Mina Shirakawa, Waka Tsukiyama, and Xena defeating the God's Eye foursome of Mirai, Rana Yagami, Saki Kashima, and Shuri in 9 minutes and 36 seconds. An enjoyable sort of get a lot of people on the card at once match. Didn't think too much more about it. I will say that the Empress Nexus Venus finish was, I believe, the anthill finisher that the colony used to do in Chikara, and I think the Best Friends do it in AEW sometimes. My one piece of advice would be they may want to work on it a little bit backstage, because I sort of got what they were going for, but it was like, ooh, this is a bit sweaty to get to this. And, they weren't timed. And it's a tricky, someone's standing on someone's shoulder and then you have to jump up in the air. I think it's a cool finisher, so I think they should keep it, but they may just want to put in a little bit more reps.
Get some find some cheerleaders to get some tips from.
The next match was our first Cinderella Tournament semifinal match, where Hanan defeated Ruaka in 9 minutes and 18 seconds. My thought on this match was just not very good. Didn't think it was very good. It had the interference, which I hate, although I did like the fact that Oedo Tai started interfering and then Stars just came in and was like, okay, we'll interfere too.
Yeah, that was great. Especially, I thought Hazuki being like the one to vanquish them was perfect after how they cost her the tournament match.
But there's nothing there with Ruaka. Not an excellent worker. Characters sort of nothing. And stuck in a faction which I don't like in Oedo Tai. And I have to bring it up again here, although I could bring it up in almost every match moving forward. Another, I think people are going to say, oh, badly mic'd. Another terrible crowd for this show.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like it's because it legitimately could be either way, where they just keep getting bad crowds, or whoever mics their crowds is just inept and they continue to employ this person. Like that's honestly a toss-up.
And it's like, it could be the big venue, but there were multiple times on this show I was like, oh, this is dying.
Yeah.
There's a big one coming up that I was like, oh, that thing that just happened got absolutely no reaction from the crowd. I don't know. Maybe they're running venues that are too big, only 994 people in the venue.
That's not great, but it's also just a Wednesday night. Like this is an odd time to run this show, I thought.
But it's not even like, okay, it's 994 fans, whatever, the number is fine, but it's like out of how many possible in that room.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to remember, is that the place where I went to see where I've been, but I don't remember. Which was big, but not like humongous and cavernous. So I'm thinking maybe it isn't the reason for that. It's just a weird thing where like the Korakuens are always loud. It's like, oh, people are really into this. And then they get to these bigger buildings and it's like, no one is making any sound at all. And it's just very strange to me.
Yeah. No, it's weird.
So that was this was just a match that I was like, hey, I'm happy Hanan won, and let's move on.
Who knows? Maybe Rossi will take his microphone guys that just stuff like 4 socks over a microphone, and they can go over to Rossi-dom, and we can have better audio and Stardom.
Kelly, what'd you think of this match?
I liked it for what it was. I enjoyed like I said, I enjoyed seeing Hazuki take out Oedo Tai. It was fine for what it was. It was good to see Ruaka lose.
The next semifinal match on this show, the last semifinal match on this show, was Ami Sourei defeating Azumi in 11 minutes and 35 seconds. Kelly, what'd you think of this match?
First, I messaged you about this. You know how you have Ryan Davidson, who's just always living in your brain?
Mm-hmm.
Ami Sourei is the opposite of that to me. For whatever reason, my brain refuses to remember her. And like anytime I see her, there's this instant of like, who is that? And then I remember like, oh yeah, it's her. She looks different. Oh no, maybe she doesn't. But for whatever reason, my brain refuses to commit Amy Sourei to memory. It's the weirdest thing. And like sometimes I'll think she's Hanako, where it's like she's been around far longer than Hanako has. I don't know why. But this match ruled. Hopefully she sticks in my brain because of this. Thought it was super hard fought match from both of them. I really enjoyed like the extended sequence on the ring apron, because it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, they can get eliminated by being tossed over the top rope. So I thought that was fun. It was an interesting way to kind of do like peril and stuff. And Ami really had to use like everything she had to put Azumi away. I thought really good match. They both looked great here. I went 3 3/4.
I also really liked it. I really liked that Ami Sourei, who I do remember. I think she's well positioned as like an upper mid carder who, if she were to lose like 5 matches in a row, I wouldn't be like, hey, what's going on? I feel like Stardom needs more of her type of person, like someone who is positioned in not like an opener or very low on the card person, but someone who you're not like, well, they can't lose. Stardom has a lot of people where it feels like, oh, we don't want these people to lose, which is good that they've now got all these rookies hanging around. But the one note I had on the match, which I really enjoyed, I also went 3 3/4, was it just feels like Ami needs a little bit more oomph on her offense, especially because she's doing a lot of clotheslines, lariats, whatever, and I'm just like, she just needs to like stick it a little bit more. Nothing looks bad. There's nothing that I was thinking, oh, this is horrible, but it's just like you're a power wrestler in some fashion. And I think it would really go to the next level if it was like, I'm going to hit you hard now. So that was my note, but I really enjoyed it. They really went for it. I too, just like I did on the first day, was like, oh yeah, they can still go over the top rope and lose. I don't know why. Maybe in my brain I was like, well, this is the last day, but it's never changed. That I was like, oh yeah, they can do that. And so I also like that. And I was exact same as you, 3 3/4 stars.
Nice. Yeah, good match.
The next match was a 3-way 9-person tag team match where Crazy Star, Mai Sierra, and Suzu Suzuki teamed up with Mai Sakurai to defeat the Queen's Quest trio of Lady C, Miyu Amasaki, and Saya Kamatani, and the Stars trio of Hazuki, Koguma, and Saya Ida in 10 minutes and 28 seconds. Didn't have a ton to say about this match. I thought it was fun. Think having 9 people in the match and 3 teams sort of highlights one of Stardom's strengths, which Kelly has talked about, is the sort of Dragon Gate style go match, which I think they're very good at. Other than that, not too much to say about the match. It was just sort of a, break from the semifinals before we sort of got to the more business end of the card, which started with a singles match between the long-time rivals Julia and Tom Nakano, going maybe for the last time ever to a time limit draw in 15 minutes. Whoever thought 15 minutes would be enough time for these two people? Kelly, what'd you think of this match?
I fucking loved this match. Have you ever seen like if cats start fighting and they just start slapping the shit out of each other? Like that's what the opening of this match reminded me of. Like just the quick bap, 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 bap from the pause. Like that's exactly what the slap exchange at the beginning reminded me of. And I thought it was great. Like I loved this match. The fucking lump on Tom's head from the headbutt was insane. Just this was a great brawl. You know, there was a tiny bit of disappointment from the draw, but it was to be expected. But any of the disappointment was washed away when they tossed Daichi out of the ring. That was great. I loved that. And they didn't even like really keep fighting after that. They just tossed him and were like, I guess we're tuckered out. It was awesome. More people should toss Daichi out of the ring. It's my favorite thing. This ruled 4.5 stars.
Wow. Okay. I also noted the big goose egg on Tom, which looked crazy.
Tom's head swells so bad. Like just really like
that is true. Yeah.
Like the swelling on her face from the slaps was nuts too. Like her face swells up so bad, and that knot on her head, that was just an egg right there. It was nuts.
This is what I mentioned earlier. There was absolutely no reaction at all to Julia pulling Tom up during the pinfall. It was like dead silent in the arena, and I was like, oh, a cool moment that no one reacted to. I did write at the end, I forgot the phrase and then remembered it after I wrote this and decided not to change it. I said the immovable force meets the whatever object, parentheses, two, it doesn't work for me, brothers. That was right as the time limit draw was called.
We got a double brother finish.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I mean, the problem is we've seen this match before, and the matches they've had have been like the best matches in the company in the last few years. So it's very hard for me to be equally like, yeah, hell yeah, it's a 15-minute time limit draw. Like, would I rather watch this or like the title matches from, before? I don't think I would ever be like, oh, I'm going to watch this time limit draw. Didn't think it was bad, but just didn't really think much else of it besides that.
Yeah, I give a lot of credit for matches where they just kind of go as a sprint and beat the shit out of each other. So this checked a lot of boxes for me.
The next match was a 10-person tag team match. The Oedo Tai team of Fukigen Death, Momo Watanabe, Natsuko Tora, Rina, and Starlight Kid defeated Aya Sakura, Natsupoi, Saori Ano, Yuna Mizumori, and Sayaka Kurara in 13 minutes and 5 seconds. Another match, didn't feel too strongly about it, but I do have to say I do appreciate Stardom really mixing these rookies in to matches like this immediately. They very easily could just have like the rookies fight each other on every card for the next 6 months, and it'd be like, okay, that makes sense. But I'm glad that they're sort of in here, mixed in here. It isn't just like one rookie. The losing side had two of them, and sort of mixed in also throughout the rest of the card here, which I think is fun and makes it a little bit more interesting for me. The semi-main event was the Cinderella Tournament 2024 final match where Hanan defeated Ami Sourei in 10 minutes and 59 seconds to become the winner of the Cinderella Tournament for 2024. Kelly, what did you think of this final match?
I thought it had the absolute right finish. Hanan is clearly getting elevated, and that's nice. It's smart to start elevating people, as you might have who knows more people out the door soon. So I thought that was a good move. I thought the match was really good, hard fought from both of them. The finish was awesome. Hanan just dumped Ami on her head. That was great. I really enjoyed it. I went 4 stars.
I liked it. I wasn't at that level. It felt to me definitely like a match between two people who aren't really on that top tier in ring level yet, especially two people who are sort of in the ring together with each other. Still liked the match. I was really happy to see Hanan get the win. I'm happy to see her sort of get elevated. I think there's been a number of, thinking of sort of that, she's been around longer, but thinking of, the Lady C's and that sort of time period of like, okay, I'm glad to see we're going to start pushing, and it isn't going to be this thing where it's like, okay, we'll start pushing her in another 3 years, which sometimes feels like it's what happened. They just hang out and then long down the road get a push. So I'm glad to see her do that, and hopefully she'll be able to slot into maybe a Mirai position as Mirai leaves. But it feels like an appropriate Cinderella tournament winner this year. So happy to see someone who's like, okay, this will help them sort of take the next step, which I think is the most valuable use of the tournament. Although I will say, I believe it's been announced that Hanan will be taking on Sayori No for the Wonder of Stardom title, which is always a thing I don't understand.
Stupid. Why?
Because I feel like if you win, you should challenge for the World of Stardom title.
Yeah. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Hanan.
But that's that doesn't have anything to do with this match or Hanan. So yeah. And then finally, the main event of the show was Maika successfully defending her World of Stardom title against Utami in 29 minutes and 41 seconds. I am happy to see that Maika is holding on to this title because it felt like maybe when she won it that it was going to be maybe like a one defense and then drop it to someone else type of reign. So happy to see her keep it for a while. Wasn't really a lot of question on the outcome. Once I watched this, I know that when we had our last episode, we had sort of gone back and forth on maybe if Utami would win. But by the time I watched this, it was announced that she was leaving. So really had no doubt that Maika was going to retain. I thought it was a good match, but just didn't really connect with me all that much. I probably would have gone like 3.5 stars. Kelly, what did you think?
That's where I'm at too. I went 3.5. I think I would have enjoyed this a lot more if you shaved 10 minutes off it. It felt like a big epic, but I really not invested in the story between these two, so it just didn't do much for me. It also didn't help that Stardom World booted me at some point during this match, and it was like, whoa, you've been on too long. You got to log off. I was like, okay, and then I clicked the box, and it was like, all right, cool, you're logged out now. I was like, why did you make me do that? So I don't know. They thought I was watching too much.
Stardom
like, hey,
told you to go touch grass.
Yeah. They're like, go play outside for a bit and then come back.
All right. Well, that was the Cinderella Tournament Finals. The other big show of the last 2 weeks just happened. I know both Kelly and I finished it moments before we started this episode. That would be Tokyo Joshi's Grand Princess 24 from March 31st at Ryogoku Sumo Hall in front of a Tokyo Joshi all-time record 2,349 fans.
Would have been 2,350 if I had actually gone.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
That's math.
That's math.
Had there been one more person in the building, it would have been 2,350. But you weren't there. But you were.
50.
You were watching it at home. Kelly, what did you think about the show overall?
I thought it was a great show. A little, I don't want to say lopsided, but the back half of the card was very clearly better than the front half. You know, it was one of those where if someone's looking for recommendations, there is a clear line in the card where you're like, all right, just watch everything from here on and you're good. But yeah, overall, really great show.
I also really liked it. I think there are probably big Tokyo Joshi shows that are maybe better in ring overall. But I thought for what happened in the show, it was maybe one of Tokyo Joshi's best shows. So I really liked it. I can definitely see, Kelly, your point of sort of like start at this point and watch, but I thought there was really some good stuff, spread throughout the card. Maybe not great overall matches, but interesting stuff. And really nothing that I thought, oh, this is such, this isn't great. Wish I could skip this. There was none of that. So all of it was enjoyable to me.
What do you think of Haruna Neko's robot?
So what? Explain that to me, because you would know this better than me. I was like, oh, they're, of course, the two most popular people in the company, Miyu and Haruna Neko.
It's very strange that those are the two they went with. I'm not entirely sure what these are being used for. If there's anything beyond, hey, we made these robots, don't they look cool? But they are designed for an anime called Votoms, which is like an old school mech anime. So I don't know if there's new stuff coming out or if these are going to be in a phone game or something. But regardless, they have robots for Miyu Yamashita and Haruna Neko, and they look pretty rad. I like that the Haruna Neko one has thigh-colored, skin-colored thighs. That's fun.
I think it may be related to, I think a guy who does anime voiceovers was on commentary or part of the show.
Okay.
Or something to that. Maybe it was related to that. I will say this sort of brings up the one, I guess related to the show, but not really related to the show. Both Kelly and I noted this was when I started up the show on my phone, it defaulted to English commentary, and then I cast it to my TV. And once I cast it to my TV, I could only listen to the Japanese commentary. There was no option to change to the English commentary. I ended up watching the Japanese commentary. Kelly, I think you did too. It wasn't an issue, but was just a little strange.
Yeah, it was weird because I've had no problems playing the English commentary on my TV before. So at first I figured it was something up with my TV, but once you were having the problem, I was like, okay, cool, it's not just me.
Yeah, and I went back and I was like, oh, maybe I chose something wrong. So I went back and like restarted it, and it still didn't work. The Japanese commentary was perfectly fine. But if they explained something about those robots on the English commentary, neither of us heard it. So it was also announced in the pre-show that there will be a documentary coming out on Wrestle Universe Tokyo Joshi Behind the Scenes, I believe it's called. That will be a pay-per-view on Wrestle Universe. So if you're interested in learning about something that goes on behind the scenes, that's for you.
I was into it until you said pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, and it will be, if you subscribe to Wrestle Universe, I think those pay-per-views end up free like 6 months after they air or something.
I'll forget it long before then.
I don't know. Anyway, the show itself started with a rookie 6-person tag team match. Haru Kazushiro, Runa Okubo, and Uta Takami defeating Chika Nanase, Kira Summer, and Shino Suzuki in 7 minutes and 43 seconds. My big takeaway from this match was Uta screams like a hawk.
Uta just comes off like a psycho, and it's great.
She was like, "Ah, ah," I was like, wow, we're very energetic here. Thought it was a solid match. Really, there was no missteps to speak of, which is pretty impressive for a match in which, as we talked about last time, there's really very little experience in the match itself. So I thought it was really solid. A good win for Haru at the end. I think I didn't watch the video, but I believe there was a backstage interview where Shino seemed to be getting frustrated with all of her losses. So that may become a point down the line, something to pay attention to, as you know, she has been losing quite frequently and more than some of the people that debuted around her. So something to look out for.
Maybe she will know once again, and that will bring her back to her winning ways.
She's got to put the pads back on, and then she'll never lose again.
Exactly. It's like taking the straps down, but you got to put the pads up.
Yeah.
I don't know whose like entrance music it was that kicked off for the first team. I think it was Runa's, but it sounds like a theme to a lost Game Boy game, and I love it. It's so good. I want to play that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have either have been Haru's or Runa's.
I think it was Runa because Haru's music played when she got the pin, and it wasn't that, so it had to be Runa's.
Is Haru the one we talked about last week that sounds like La La Land? Whose was that?
Oh, that was Kaya Toribami.
Oh yeah, Kaya. That's right.
I almost just said bird person.
Well, that would have helped. Then I could have gotten Kaya. Yeah.
Would have gotten that eventually.
Any other thoughts on this little match here?
No, it was good. It's when you have like a match with this lack of experience to it and it isn't a disaster, it's a win. No matter what, it's a win. It wasn't a great match, but it sure wasn't terrible. So I thought they did a good job.
The next match was a tag team match, the debuting Ami Yamamoto teaming with Nao Kakuta to defeat Himawari and Mahiro Kiryu in 8 minutes and 52 seconds. Kelly, what did you think about the debut of Ami Yamamoto?
I think she has a lot of raw talent. Like, there's definitely something there with her. She did get a little bit too ambitious with the dive to the outside. That she just landed on the ring apron instead. But you know what? I appreciate that she's trying. It was a fine match. I will say I think Mahiro's gear is getting worse. I don't know exactly what happened to it, but it doesn't look good.
Well, we've transferred our your gear energy to another place.
Yeah.
I also thought Ami looked good. She had the the cartwheel, the springboard. Tried the triangle dive, which didn't quite work out. I know that she was on that Idol wrestling show, WIP, years ago, which is a great show. I don't know if you could find it online at this point, but if you've never seen it, I would recommend it because it's super fun. She was on that, so she has at least minor wrestling experience, which sort of showed. The match was fine, felt mostly built to highlight Ami, which I think it did do. Now, surprised to, I'm sure they wanted to get Ami the win, but surprised that they didn't pin Now, who's leaving soon. And then just wondering what they do with people like Himawari and Mahiro, who feel sort of stuck between they're not really low cards, but they also don't really seem to be moving anywhere at this point. Like Kelly, I don't know if you disagree, but I'm like, Himawari I think is really fun, and I think they could push her, but it seems like they're not.
No, I totally agree on Himawari. I think they have something there with her, but I don't think they see it yet.
Mahiro may just be sort of now at the point where she lives in that lower card place, but I think there's something with Himawari, and I think they could try, but it's also a thing. They got lots of people moving up the card sort of all at the same time. So, maybe tough.
Yeah, I think this is as high as My Hero goes up on the card. She's fun, but I don't think there's really anything there with her.
The next match was another tag team match. Palm Harajuku and Raku defeating Andreza Giant Panda and Kaya Torabami with Haruna Neko in 8 minutes and 38 seconds. I did get a laugh out of Raku and Palm doing the Goodnight Express directly on Andreza's head, which did make me laugh. I also had a question of how does a 5-second tag rule apply when it requires about 2 minutes for Andreza to get in the ring?
I feel like with Andreza, you have to be like, oh, they're showing the initiative of getting out of the ring. That counts enough.
Yeah. A big win for Raku. Big stage Raku with the win. This sort of was barely a match, really, when it comes down to it. I did like Raku trying to beat the shit out of everyone after the match, though.
Yeah, this was dumb as shit, but it was really fun.
Yeah, so, served its purpose. You knew it would sort of be funny with Andreza in, but I enjoyed it. Next, we took a break from the action of wrestling to watch the mini SKE 48 live show. Kelly, did you watch this part of the show?
I watched some of it. So I don't know much about SKE 48. I assume they're like a big group. Like there's many more people than what we saw.
There's like dozens and dozens of people.
Okay, so I got the distinct feeling that we were watching the C or D tier team.
Well, it's funny because SKE 48 to me, so my background with this is that a few years back, so AKB 48 is the original one, the original group. They are based in Tokyo. They started first, they were around for a bit, and then SKE 48 was like the second group that was formed.
They're the farm team.
But they're not really a farm team because they're sort of, in some ways they are, but they're sort of their own thing.
They're the Washington Generals to the Globetrotters.
They sort of cover different, like now there's a bunch of 48s that sort of cover different areas of the country. But like Jurina started in SKE 48 and was so popular that in a way, so this sort of is the farm system, that she kept showing up like with AKB 48, but I don't think ever joined them. But like AKB 48 sort of takes the popular ones from other groups and is like, you can also show up with us once in a while. So SKE 48 sort of is, I don't think of them as a B team, but they're sort of like, they aren't the top. And I could see what you mean, where it's like, I also think these are probably not like the 5 top members of the group. I don't really know current day anything about SKE 48, so I don't know where these people fall in terms of like popularity or how the company sees them. And I know that, the whole 48 system, I think, is not where it was like 10 years ago when they were super popular. So I definitely could see what you mean. Although I have to say that I had I think the meanest thought I've ever had of like, oh, here's a note for the show, which is that look, everyone loves the Up girls. We all love the Up girls. They're great, obviously. The difference, the performance difference between Up girls and SKE 48 is like night and day.
Yeah, but I think that also makes me enjoy the Up girls more, is because they lack that polish and they're trying so hard, and it just, I appreciate that. Whereas these, like the SKE48, I was like, you could be better. Like they could bring out the better ones. But this is what we get. Whereas Up girls, that's as good as we're gonna get. But you know what? I appreciate it nonetheless.
Well, and also they wrestle as well, so they have
Exactly.
something else. And many of them are,
Multi-talented.
very good at wrestling, as we'll talk about in a little bit. But I watched the whole thing. I enjoyed it. It was sort of a nice break to be like, oh, something else is happening for 15 minutes. Sort of give me a very small mental break from like wrestling match. But yeah, SKE48, that was that. The next wrestling match was a tag team match. Juria Nagano and Moka Miyamoto, the Karate Kids, defeating Toga and Wakana Uehara in 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Kelly, my first note was, we've added a cape to this whole thing. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I bet I do.
I'm like, why is there a cape now? What is this?
More fabric.
I mean, it got taken off before the match, but I'm also like, it doesn't make sense with the rest of the... Why are you wearing a cape? What, like, you're wearing a cape and then you're wearing a skirt and then I don't understand.
She has many ideas and she's going to do them all.
No, I don't understand. Because I like the cape, but I'm like, the cape feels like it is for a different outfit. Other than that, I thought
Toga's got new gear.
Toga's got new gear. I mean, Wakana had new gear.
Yeah, but I feel like Toga's gear is a definite upgrade. I liked it a lot.
Well, she's moving away from looking like Mahiro 2.0.
Yes, which is smart.
As for
as
the
comfortable
matches,
as those pants were, I'm sure, like you gotta step up the look. I mean, save the velvet pants for at home.
Okay. As for the match itself, I thought it was just fine. It felt a little to me like Toga and Wakana were in over their heads with other people who aren't really that experienced either. It still looks to me like there's some overthinking going on with Toga when she's doing things, and you can sort of see her being like, okay, now I need to do this and I need to like go here. Tried the rolling senton. It just looked like she wasn't confident that she was in the right place, so just sort of started it over again. Once she hit it, it looked nice, and also appreciated the shout out to RVD on the Japanese commentary.
The Japanese commentary popped so hard for me.
They were like, "Oh, RVD." I was like, "Yeah, RVD, yeah." Very weird to me to have Juria and Moka win. Why is Juria winning matches at this point?
I don't know. It's so strange. Like, it makes me wonder if she's like, I don't know, maybe I will stick around. And they're like, well, maybe we should have her win. She might stick around.
Because if I'm like, oh, you're leaving and you're never wrestling ever again, I'm like, I'm beating you every match. You're not winning another match.
It's super weird.
You've been here for like, not that long. 2 years or however long she's been here. I'm like, you're losing. Sorry. And would have been a big win for two people who they clearly see something in Toga and Wakana. But, I thought it was just fine. I just thought it was just sort of a strange, like, oh, these are young wrestlers, but they're more experienced than rookies. So I sort of expect more from them, but then didn't get that because they're not fully developed wrestlers yet, if that makes sense.
No, totally. This should, like you said, this should have been a win for either Toga or Uehara. Like, either one of them really could have used it. And I do appreciate Toga trying to do new things, trying to expand her offense. Might need to practice things a little bit more, but this is how wrestlers grow. So it was a fine match, nothing great, nothing really worth going back for.
And Toga, if you're doing that rolling senton, just look at how RVD does it. Sometimes he's not in position and he does it anyway.
Yep, and it works out.
So that's my advice.
Smoke more weed, Toga.
The next match was our first singles match of the evening. Masha Slamovich, indicated on the graphics as Impact Wrestler, which is incorrect. TNA Wrestler. Masha Slamovich defeating Rika Tatsumi in 10 minutes and 35 seconds. Kelly, your thoughts on this match?
This was one of those matches where I thought it was somehow both very good and a disappointment. Like, I don't know, I just expected a little bit more out of this. I wish they had a bit more time. I went 3.5. I enjoyed it, but I thought this could have been better. But at this point, easily best match of the show right now.
I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought that Masha showed a lot of fire. I thought that Rika sort of played the underdog very well, sort of hitting these desperation moves. I thought that they were setting up this like, oh, Rika's taking a beating here, really, because she was going to win. And then she didn't win, which sort of shocked me. I was like, oh, she just got the shit beat out of her and then lost.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty crazy. But I thought this was really good. I went 4 stars on it. I thought I really liked the flying armbar that Masha did at one point. I was like, whoa, flying armbar. And I think Masha, like Ryo Mizunami, sort of brings a little something different to Tokyo Joshi. And the fun thing is, with this, it felt like, oh, this is sort of outside of the style that you'd usually see in Tokyo Joshi. But I find when that happens, like almost everyone in Tokyo Joshi is game to like, oh, I'll do that type of match. Sure. It's just that usually they don't do it because they're all pretty similar sort of training wise and things like that. But I thought Rika did very well in this. I thought Masha looked good. So I went 4 stars. I agree. It was the clear best thing on the show up to this point. The next match was a tag team match. Aja Kong and Max the Impaler teaming to defeat Hyper Masao and Shoko Nakajima in 12 minutes and 39 seconds. Kelly, your thoughts?
I want to take a minor victory lap on this one because aside from the bike stuff, it was mostly serious, just like I predicted. So I was happy to see that. Max and Kong are a hell of a team. It would be cool to see them challenge Daisy Monkey and just watch them toss them around. This wasn't a classic, but I had a lot of fun with it. I also went 3.5 stars on this one.
I like this one. I wish it had been slightly more serious. It was serious in parts. There was the bike part, but there also was a lot of the cold spray stuff where I was like, especially because the second cold spray happened at the moment when it was like, this is getting really serious. Oh boy, it's getting serious. And they're doing the forearm exchange. And then it was like, oh, and the cold spray comes back out. And I was like, oh, I sort of was liking the seriousness of this. Shout out to Aja's robe with the skull on the top of it.
That was cool.
Also really liked the assisted head scissors when Shoko jumped in the ring and Masao threw her legs onto, I think it was Kong, in the corner. I thought that was really cool. I liked Aja Kong winning, saying she was a hero. I thought that was fun. And this was the moment in the show where I realized that everyone backstage must have decided that everyone was going to do pile drivers on the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of pile drivers now that you mentioned that.
Because I think there was one in Masha and Rika. There was one in this match, and there were a couple coming up where I was like, I don't remember a Tokyo Joshi show. Maybe I'm just not thinking of it, where so many people took like pile drivers or moves on their head, where I was like, whoa, this is pretty wild. But I thought the match was also a lot of fun. The next match was a special singles match. Minoru Suzuki defeating Maki Ito in 18 minutes and 1 second. This was an interesting match. I thought large parts of it were fun. I thought it went too long. And it
Yes.
very much felt like an exhibition match. It didn't really feel connected to anything. It also very much felt like, oh, we have to dance around the fact that if Minoru Suzuki hits one strike on Maki Ito, he's going to kill her. So it was sort of like, oh, what are the weird things that we can do to sort of avoid, at the beginning, she was in the ropes, and then he's like, ha ha ha, I'm not actually going to hit you. There was the thing with, Maki crying and then Suzuki making Matsui cry, which actually I thought was funny.
That was
I
the
thought
peak
the
of the
match,
match for me. I fucking loved that bit. It was so funny.
I thought the match should have ended with Suzuki just demolishing Ito with that one strike and knocking her out. I just
Yeah.
thought Matsui should have been like, she's knocked out, the match is over. It kept going, and I was sort of like, okay, I get it. You want to do some near falls, but it was sort of like, I don't know. I don't really need to see near falls in this match. And it just felt like, 18 minutes is,
So
I
long.
believe, the second longest match on the entire card, which, yes, that is true. The would, with 3 more minutes, well, actually less than 3 more minutes, would have been the longest match on the card. And it sort of felt long, even though I enjoyed it. I was sort of like, okay, at some point I just thought, I get this.
Hmm.
Let's like go to the finish.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the opening bit. I thought it, like I said, I thought it peaked with the making Matsui cry. And then it just kind of kept going and kept going and kept going. Every now and then it would have bits where I'm like, oh, that's good. I like that. And then it's like it would have 5 more minutes after that. So it was both somehow good and bad. I went 3.25. I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe this is probably a match best watched in GIFs.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever say that about another match, but somehow I think this one might be best served watching in little bite-sized chunks like that.
It also is a match, I know we're about to preview it, but would have been like a WrestleMania match.
100%.
Where you would have been like, oh, it was 18 minutes, but a lot of that 18 minutes was like the crowd cheering or whatever it would be. And you'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just sort of felt strange on the show, especially because then it went directly into like business. It also was very weird to me that you had the Minoru Suzuki and the Aja Kong matches sort of back to back, because then it was sort of 2 consecutive matches of people being like, I'm so big and strong that nothing you do affects me.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of was like, oh, I would have maybe broken those up with a match in between. I don't know which match that would be, but it just was a little bit like, oh, I just saw this with Aja Kong.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maki feels very disconnected from anything else happening in Tokyo Joshi. Obviously, Suzuki is not in Tokyo Joshi. So just a sort of strange match. The next match was a tag team match. The reuniting Magical Sugar Rabbits, Mizuki and Yuka Sakazaki, defeating TDK, Chris Brooks and Emi Sakura, in 15 minutes and 43 seconds. I think Chris Brooks and Emi Sakura may be the worst team in the history of Tokyo Joshi.
A lot of offense on each other.
they did not get along in the beginning. They did not get along at the end. I was like, oh boy, get it together here. Really liked seeing a dive, sumo hall dive. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Again, more head drops in this match. And I don't know if Mizuki and Chris Brooks like had a meeting before, and Mizuki was like, "Yeah, I'll do whatever." Chris Brooks hit her with a shotgun drop kick that looked insane, and then immediately just obliterated her with double knees. And I was like, "What is he doing?" But I thought this match ruled. I thought it was great. I went 4.25 stars.
Yeah, this whipped ass. It reminded me of the golden age of Choco Pro. It just had that feel to it. Sakura and Brooks are just perfect bullies, and that's why I think it worked that they were so not on the same page at times, because they're both trying to be the alpha bully, and eventually it devolved into them just brawling after the match, which I loved. This was like nonstop action too, and it all flowed really well. I think this is, looking at my ratings, yeah, this is my second favorite match of the show. I went 4.5 stars. I really loved this one.
Before the next match, it was announced that Summer Sun Princess 24 will be happening on July 20th. They did announce, instead of the previous two Summer Sun Princesses have happened from the Oda City General Gymnasium. That will not be the case this year. This one will be happening at Korakuen Hall, so that will be interesting to see. I don't know.
I saw that the venue is like closed indefinitely for construction right now.
Okay. I thought that was the
renovation,
case.
I should say.
And then I looked it up online and I couldn't find anything. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, Korakuen Hall, but technically they could. I think looking at the last two Summer Sun Princess attendances, I think they've done like 1,100, 1,200 people. So technically, if they fill Korakuen Hall, they could outsell that anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's under construction, but that's the next big show coming up. So it will be interesting to see what gets put on that show now that it's at Korakuen Hall. But that was announced. So look forward to that in a few months. The next match was the first of our 3 title matches, the International Princess title match. Yuki Arai, the champion, successfully defending her title against Yuki Kamifuku in 11 minutes and 28 seconds. Kelly, what did you think?
I thought this over-delivered. It was a lot better than I was expecting. We saw last year that Kamiyu can really deliver in a big spot, and I thought she was great here too. I hope that Yuki Arai kind of takes a lesson from this match and sees that maybe she should kind of go to a more brawling style, because I think she's actually really good at that and was great here. I enjoyed all the kick exchanges and the boots and stuff, and I thought that finally looked really good here when she hit it to close the match. I went 4 stars. I thought they both did really well.
I was a little lower than you. I went 3.5 stars, but I thought it was a really solid match. I thought Arai looked better than she has before, especially on her strikes. I think looked a lot better. I liked her straight up just slapping Kamiyu on the outside. At some point, I was like, what?
More of that.
Yeah, like the leg kick battle. Again, I thought nothing out of this world, nothing crazy, but I thought it was solid and sort of over-delivered because these Yuki Arai International Princess matches have not been my favorite, but I thought this one was very good.
Yeah, I think just become more of a brawler. Slap more people. Just go for it.
The next match was the Princess Tag Team title match. Daisy Monkey, the team of Ariso Endo and Suzume, defeating Ryo Mizunami and Yuki Aino in 15 minutes and 57 seconds to become the new Princess Tag Team champions. Kelly, they did it. They won the Max Heart tournament and they win the titles.
Hell yeah. I really love that Daisy Monkey now is just this team that kind of will let you beat the shit out of them for a long time until they finally catch you and can put you away. Like they very much do like a rope-a-dope thing. Like they did that in the finals of the tournament, and now we're doing it here. It was cool. I really enjoyed it. I hope this isn't the end of Mizunami's run in Tokyo Joshi. I mean, it kind of felt like an ending with her losing the belt, but I really hope she doesn't go away.
I thought this took a minute to get going, but once it got going, I think once it was Suzume and Yuki in the ring together, I thought it really picked up, and really from there on, it was really great. I thought it rocked. Not the cleanest match I've ever seen. You know, there was no big mistakes, but it just had some great near falls, great action. I did not think, you know, I've been so beaten down by Tokyo Joshi that I was like, well, Daisy Monkey's not winning. And there was a couple of pins where I was like, okay, well, they put up a good fight, and then they kicked out, and I was like, yeah. And then they won. I do have to say, my first thought when Daisy Monkey won was, oh, okay, Miyu Watanabe's not winning. Because I was so like in my head. But I really liked this. I went 4.25 stars. So I thought
That's
it was
exactly where I was.
I thought it was really good. Excited for the reign of Daisy Monkey. Hopefully they get some good teams that they can have some good matches with.
Flowers and monkeys for all.
And then in the main event, the Princess of Princess title match, Miyu Watanabe defeating Miyu Yamashita in 20 minutes and 7 seconds to win the Princess of Princess title. Kelly, I'll let you go first.
I will say this. I loved this match, first off, but there was a little tell early on before the bell rang. It straight up looked like Miyu, or I should just call him last name, Watanabe, was about to cry. And I was like, oh, she's winning. Because it wasn't the kind of crying like, oh, she's, you know, losing this opportunity again. It was like, oh no, she's going to win, and she could barely keep it together. But once they got going, she was fine. But that kind of was a tip off, I thought. But yeah, it was incredible to see another person break through the Tokyo Joshi glass ceiling. The match was fantastic. I thought there was one moment like halfway through the match that was just incredible. With they were going to start doing like a strike exchange, and Yamashita hits Watanabe with this strike that looked and I think was purposely weak. And Watanabe's face kind of changes, and you can see this like thought come into her head where she was like, I can actually win this. It was a really cool moment. I loved that. That was awesome. And she, after that, just kind of fought through everything else Yamashita had, and even took the skull kick and kept going and beat her. I think this was a fantastic match. I don't know if it'll land as well for people that kind of parachute into the promotion. But if you've been following things, I think this is a legit match of the year candidate. I went 4.75 stars.
I didn't write that many notes down on this match because I was very invested in it, which is great. So really at the end, also, I was sort of like, wow, I was so excited. Like I was like, oh, Miyu won. But then I was like, well, what did I think of the match? And I was like, I don't even really know what I thought of the match. I put 4.5 stars on it because I really liked it. It wasn't like a thing where I was thinking, oh, was this good or bad? It was just sort of like, I was thinking about it on a different level of like, oh, I hope Miyu Watanabe wins. And I wasn't really thinking about like, oh, what's the quality of this match in that way. But I really liked it. The skull kicks were really my only note. The first one was great, but then the second one looked like it took Watanabe's head off.
Yes.
And that was a moment where I was like, oh no, she's going to lose. Like,
Yep.
oh, a huge skull kick. She's going to lose. Oh, no. And I was very excited when Watanabe won, and I'm pumped. And, you know, it's a big show where, I mean, I'm trying to think, I guess when Mizuki won the title, maybe similar, but to have both the tag titles and the Princess of Princess and be like, whoa, like this is exciting. Like,
yeah.
went in. So many people, I was sort of on the same wavelength, being like, Miyu Watanabe's not going to win. Like, she's going to get the chance, and then far down the line, she'll get another chance and she'll win it. And as I said, it was sort of like, okay, Daisy Monkey won, so now Watanabe's definitely not winning because they wouldn't do that in a show. So I was really all over the place, but I really liked it, and that's really what put it over. As I said, I don't know about this match quality. I went 4.5 stars, so there was a number of good matches, but again, I've had Tokyo Joshi matches at 5 stars, so I'm like, there are probably better quote unquote matches. But as to being like, wow, this is so great, like following the story of Daisy Monkey, this team that, was thrown together and now they're winning the titles, and like Miyu Watanabe, who's been so good, and it's like, oh my God, she should win. And now she has. And, I sort of thought back to the 10-person tag at the end of last year and Watanabe getting pinned by Yamashita, and people being like, oh, it's once again Watanabe, getting beat here. But that to me is almost like, okay, well, that should have been the tell.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know why you do that unless you're then doing this. Because then it's like, well, just have someone else get pinned then. And you just
No,
like
it
lose
was
the match.
definitely the setup.
And a thing that might make that 10-person match even better, knowing that it then concludes in this story, which it was a great match already, but a great end to the show. Really exciting. I'm really excited to see where Tokyo Joshi goes from here. I mean, we know one place they're going, which I'm not that excited about, but we'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, really excited to see what happens next. Excited that they have, it's now like this exciting company where before it was sort of like, okay, they have all these great rookies, they have all these up and coming people, but then you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, they're exciting, but Miyu hasn't even won a title yet. Like, we're going to have to wait for that. We're going to have to, when will Daisy Monkey win a title? Maybe not for another year. And all these other people are going to be like sitting around waiting. And now it's like, well, no, here we go. Like, we've moved on. So what's going to happen with all these sort of exciting mid-card, lower card people? They could move up faster than we think. Maybe.
Yeah, this felt like the crowning of a new generation.
Also, totally unrelated, but very strange to have a Yuki versus Yuki match on the same card as a Miyu versus Miyu match.
Yes, that's true.
I was like, oh, how bizarre to have that on the same. That doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, that's Tokyo Joshi Grand Princess 24.
Tremendous show.
What else has been going on in the world of Joshi? Stardom had a couple of other shows. They had a show on March 24th where Hanan and Saida successfully defended their New Blood tag team titles against Hanako and Waka Tsukiyama. And then on the Korakuen Hall show from the 30th, March 30th, 2 title changes. Empress Nexus Venus, the trio of Maika, Mina Shirakawa, and Xena, defeating the God's Eye trio of Ami Sourei, Mirai, and Suri to win those titles. That's the first title change on the show. And then the tag titles changing hands. The Crazy Star duo of Mei Sierra and Suzu Suzuki defeating the Queen's Quest team of Saya and Utami. You can probably figure out why those titles changed hands when they did. Also, one thing, I didn't watch all of the show, but we talked last time about the Sendai Girls shows going up on Wrestle Universe. The March 14th show did go up on March 21st. I watched some of it. Really nice quality. Great way to watch Sendai Girls. They had the little chapter dividers on the show, so really easy way to watch. And I hope that they put up more of those shows to Wrestle Universe because it's a great way to watch.
Yeah, that would be very nice.
Ice Ribbon had their Korakuen Hall show with 3 title matches. Yuki Mishiro winning the vacant Triangle Ribbon Championship, beating Kaho Matsushita and Makoto. Tochiro Satsuki and Yuna Manase defeating Kiri and Mifu Ashida to win the tag titles. And Ibuki Hoshi defeating Hamaka Hoshi to retain the Ice Infinity title there. Big announcement that sort of popped up very randomly. Chigusa Nagayo now retired from in-ring competition. They had a Marvelous Coast show recently that was originally supposed to be Nagayo's retirement from United States in-ring competition. And then at the beginning of the show, they just announced that it would be her last match totally.
Yeah, that was wild.
Like a weird thing to do. Seemed very strange to not advertise that huge thing. But you never know. Retirements are fluid in wrestling.
I mean, maybe like I was thinking about it yesterday. Maybe she saw like, her old friends there and stuff, and she's like, you know what? This might be it. This might be a good time to finally do it.
Maybe. And in Wave, some big action in Wave on the 17th of March. Hibiscus Me and Ranmaru defeated Risa Sera and Saki to win the tag titles. Kaori Yoneyama defeated Cherry and Sakura Hirota to win the Elizabeth title, which she would then lose to Leon very shortly after that. And then also Yuki Miyazaki defeated Yuko Sakurai to retain the Regina de Wave title. That's everything that has been going on in Joshi in the last 2 weeks. Before we get to the next 2 weeks, let's quickly drop in on the Joshi Fantasy League standings. And Kelly, I have terrible news for you.
No.
You are getting absolutely wiped by me and
No, I refuse.
Kelly currently in last place with 113
Jesus,
points.
did I go any from last week? Fuck.
I think you got about 8 points.
Fuck.
Liam has made a gigantic leap up all the way up to 159 points, helped by the fact that Unagi Sayaka has about 9 titles now.
Yeah, that's that's killing us.
Unagi Sayaka now the highest point getter of anyone with 54 points, but also Suzu Suzuki up there with 45. But I am clinging to the lead just barely by 2 points, 161 points, helped by Miyu Watanabe winning the Princess of Princess title just recently. So it's getting close between me and Liam. I really hope that someone who doesn't host this podcast doesn't win this thing that we set up. But Kelly, you better hope WrestleMania weekend is like the weekend of your life.
Yeah,
because you need the help.
I'm telling you, I'm moneyballing the shit out of this. I'm gonna do some research and I'm gonna find the perfect person to pick up.
Well, let's hope you do.
Gonna find whoever is like the champion of Dotonbori Pro or something, and win all the points that way.
So what is coming up in the next 2 weeks in Joshi? Sendai Girls has a show on the 14th. Dash Chizako will take on Unagi Sayaka in a hardcore match, and Mika Iwata will defend her Sendai Girls title against Veni. So that should be good. Hopefully it goes up on Wrestle Universe. Ice Ribbon has a show on April 6th. Yuki Mishiro will defend the Triangle Ribbon title against Misa Kagura and Nanai Furukawa. Wave has a show on April 3rd. Leon will defend the Elizabeth title against Kaori Yoneyama and Cherry. And Yuki Miyazaki will defend the Regina de Wave title against Kohaku. So that should be good. But what's the big thing coming up in the next 2 weeks? It's WrestleMania weekend. And WrestleMania weekend, as I said at the top of the show, has become Joshi Mania weekend. We've got Stardom shows. We've got Tokyo Joshi shows. And we've got a lot of Joshi really all over the place. Let's run through it here in order of date order, really. On Thursday, April 4th, Stardom will present American Dream 2024 in the Keystone State. That will be on Thursday at 3 p.m. That will be a Triller, formerly known as Fight, pay-per-view. So I don't believe that is on the Triller Plus.
It is not.
That will be a separate pay-per-view. They're always taking our money, this Stardom promotion.
I know.
The card is as follows. Mei Sierra will defend the high-speed title against Ram Kaichou and Saki Kashima in a three-way match. Azumi, Saya Kamatani, and someone named Cameron Brené will face off against Stephanie Vacour, Momo Watanabe, and Starlight Kid. Suri and Konami will face Willow Nightingale and Saki. Mayu Iwatani, Tom Nakano, and Momo Kogo will team to face Mina Shirakawa, Mariah May, the returning Mariah May, and Zaya Brookside.
The original Cosmic Angels return.
You're right. I didn't even think about that. The very brief Cosmic Angels. And the main event will be a World of Stardom title match. Micah will defend against Megan Bain. The first World of Stardom title match on American soil since a Rise show, I believe. I don't remember the date, but it has been quite a while. Kelly, any matches you're particularly looking forward to?
It's pretty wild that there's not just one, but two title matches on this show. So that's cool. Micah versus Megan Bain should be pretty good. I mean, the result is not in question, but it should be a pretty good match. And it'll be fun to see the Cosmic Angels back together.
I'm currently looking up Cameron Brené, who I have
no idea who she is.
Heard of. The
classic, just Stardom finding random people and throwing them in.
Yeah, the Peerless Princess is Cameron's nickname here. Okay. So, wait a minute. Former WWE / NXT star. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh, is she the Funkadactyl?
No, I don't think so. Cameron Burnett. I think she went by Amari Miller in NXT.
I think I know that name.
It would help if I watched NXT, but I won't do that to myself.
No.
I guess she was released in January because she wrestled on January 9th on Level Up, episode 100.
Jesus Christ, there's been 100 of that?
Hey, how about this? And she was also on January 6th in a Battle Royal at NXT Live, a house show in Sebring, Florida. Boy, these names are just the names of Lash legend Adriana Rizzo, Amari Miller, Ariana Grace, Brianna Covington, Brinley Reese, Danny Palmer, Electra Lopez, Jada Parker, Jakara Jackson, Carmen Petrovic, Kennedy Cummins, Kia Saint, Lola
Kennedy
Vice.
Cummins. What the fuck?
And Nikita Lyons. I do know Nikita Lyons.
I'm telling you, we could have played a great game of wrestler or porn star with that list.
Lola Vice sounds like would have been in like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so she's a former NXT. Looks like she started out in Kansas City. She worked some Rise. She worked some New. Oh, no, New Breed Wrestling. That's not New. The New that I thought of. Oh, she worked some WWN. Oh, she worked Evolve.
Oh.
Now, wait a minute. She worked 3 Evolve dates in 2019.
Oh, that was probably when they had like the Street Profits and stuff around too.
Yeah, I think so, because that's when I dropped off of Evolve, and I don't remember her. And that would make sense. Wrestled for Respect Women. Okay, well, we'll see why we spent so much time on Cameron Burnett on this Joshi show. Anyway, I am looking forward to this match because I like Stephanie and I like Starlight Kid and Azumi, and it's a good group of people. And also, I think everyone will be fired up to have a good show. So I think all of this will be good, and hopefully they have all 3 ring ropes this time.
And they won't even have to sneak in, presumably.
Yeah, presumably. We don't know that. What else is happening on Thursday? Well, Jersey Championship Wrestling is doing JCW and GCW versus the World. That will be at 11:59 p.m. on Triller. I'm assuming that is Triller Plus.
Yes.
2 matches there. Alec Price, Cole Radrick, and one called Manders will face off against Fuminori Abe, Takuya Nomura, and Rina Yamashita. Kelly hoping to get some much-needed fantasy points.
Yeah, give me them points.
This weekend. Also, I'm presuming the main event of the show, JCW World Championship match. The champion Masha Slamovich, you may have seen that championship on the Tokyo Joshi show. She brought it out with her, will face off against Shuri in that match. That should be a great match.
Yeah, that match rules. These 2 matches are great. This might be my most anticipated show of the weekend. Like, let's go.
On Friday, April 5th, Tokyo Joshi will present live in Philly. That will be at 11 a.m. Eastern on Wrestle Universe. The card as follows: Suzume and Ariso Endo will face off against Zara Zakar and now Kakuta. Yuki Aino and Raku will take on Viva Van and Yuki Kamafuku. Hyper Masao will face Billy Starks. Mizuki and Vert Vixen, the vertical vixen herself, will face off against Palm Harajuku and Max the Impaler. Shoko Nakajima will face Riho, not Riho, but Riho. And Miyu Yamashita and Maki Ito, 121 million, will face off against Miyu Watanabe and Rika Tatsumi. Kelly, your most anticipated match of this show?
It might be Misao versus Billy Starks, in all honesty. I think they could have a really good match together. And I mean, of course, the main event will be good, but I think Misao and Billy Starks could be a sleeper match. So I'm looking forward to that one. But if I was booking the show, I definitely would have booked a trios match that involved one side being Zara Zakar, Viva Van, and Vert Vixen.
Just because of the repeated letters in their name?
Yes, team alliteration.
I'm not blown away by this card. I think they were put in sort of a hard position in that they had one of their biggest shows of the year less than 1 week before this show. I think the main event will be good. 2 good teams facing off. I think there will be other fun stuff, but just sort of wish there was even, I don't know. I would just be like, oh, Suzume and Ariso Endo versus Zara Zakar and now Kakuta is a title match. Just make it a title match.
Yeah.
Now.
At this point, you could now. Yeah.
I
should also note that this actually is going to be on Triller, and then will go up on Wrestle Universe on a delay, I believe.
Now Triller pay-per-view or Triller Plus?
Triller Plus.
Oh, great. Okay. Also on Friday the 5th, Game Changer Wrestling will present Joey Janela's Spring Break number 8. Unbelievable that there have been 8 of these things.
It's nuts, isn't it?
At 7 p.m. on Triller. 2 matches there. Masato Tanaka and Minoru Suzuki will take on Rina Yamashita and Masha Slamovich. And the very interesting match, Maki Death Kill, Maki Ito and Nick Gage will face off against Danhausen and Ram Kaichou. I look forward to the Nick Gage Ram Kaichou interactions.
Yeah, both those matches sound very fun for completely different reasons.
Also on Friday the 5th, Ring of Honor will present Supercard of Honor. That will be at 8 p.m. I believe that will be on the Watch Ring of Honor. What do they call it?
I think it's Watch ROH.
Yeah.
The service no one has.
Excuse me, I have it.
Really?
Yeah, sadly, yes, I do have it. Because I always think, I'm going to watch through all the old Ring of Honor shows, and then I never do.
Yeah.
But then it's useful then when they put these pay-per-views on there.
That's true.
There will be a Stardom showcase match. Mai Sierra, Mina Shirakawa, and Micah will take on Azumi, Saya Kamatani, and Tom Nakano. And then the Ring of Honor women's title will be the champion Athena defending against Hikaru Shida. Kelly, do you think Hikaru Shida wins the title here?
Sure, why not? Like, it's one of those where I think Athena's been champion for a really long time. So
yes,
why not? They're not doing anything with Shida up on AEW, so
frankly, I think they should move her up and she should face off against Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, trade them out. Shida goes to Ring of Honor, Athena goes to AEW.
And frankly, I think this Stardom match is going to be great because, we talked about having their own show going all out. I think they're definitely going to go all out for this, and it should be, it's a great group of 6 people, so
it's the Dragon Gate 6-man of this show.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yes. Then Saturday is April 6th, and on April 6th, Game Changer Wrestling will present Effie's Big Gay Brunch 9, another unbelievable number, at 11 a.m. on Triller, the GCW Ultra Violent Championship. Rina Yamashita, the champion, will face off against Billy Dixon. Then at noon...
I'm just thinking, how is it possible there's more gay brunches than there are spring breaks?
Because they run the gay brunches like twice a year.
Oh, okay. That explains.
There's been like one in England or something, and there was one. I know they get run like more than just Mania weekends.
Okay.
Then at noon, something called the Anthology Thrashelvania will be happening, where Viva Van and Ava Everett will take on Kaya McKenna and Ram Kaichou.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that match, but I think the show itself is some kind of charity benefit, I believe.
Maybe not airing anywhere?
Yeah, I'm not sure. If it is airing anywhere, it's going to be IWTV, but I forgot to write that down.
Then at 2:30 p.m. on Triller will be Game Changer Wrestling versus Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling.
Oh boy.
And the card is as follows. Of course, GCW superstar Suzume will take on Tokyo Joshi star Palm Harajuku in the opening match. Session Moth Martina, of course, well-known Game Changer Wrestling participant, will face off against Raku. Dark Sheik will take on Yuki Kamafuku. Steph DeLander will face off against Hyper Masao. Shaza McKenzie will take on Ariso Endo. Ali Catch will team with someone originally scheduled to be Sawyer Wreck, who I believe broke her finger or her something.
Something that requires surgery. I know
something that requires her not also wrestling at WrestleMania weekend. So Ali Catch and someone versus Mizuki and Nao Kakuta. Billy Starks and Janai Kai against Rika Tatsumi and Miyu Watanabe. And then Rina Yamashita, Masha Slamovich, and Maki Ito, Team GCW, will take on Miyu Yamashita, Shoko Nakajima, and Yuki Aino in the main event. Kelly, what the hell is this?
They somehow just made the worst card they possibly could. It's really
It's
bizarre.
It's horrible.
It's such a terrible card.
I mean, the top two could be good.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Tokyo Joshi team and the main just does not make any sense at all.
No. Yeah. So,
What do you think
yeah.
the worst match on the show is going to be?
I mean, it's tough because I'm like, well, I do trust the Tokyo Joshi side,
Yeah,
but I'm like,
that's not in doubt.
I mean, well, I think it depends on who is the replacement for Sawyer Wreck.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be Effie, right?
Oh God.
It's got to be Bussy.
Oh no. Okay, then that gets my vote. If that's the match, then I'm like Mizuki and Ali Catch. Like, who's jonesing for that?
I think the worst match is probably going to be Session Moth Martina versus Raku because I think they will have negative chemistry.
I think that would at least be funny.
I don't think it will be.
I'm like, I guess it could be like, haha, this is very because like I think Raku's funny.
Raku's comedy and Session Moth Martina's comedy
yes,
are so
different.
far apart. Like Raku's gonna be like, haha, go to sleep, and Session Moth Martina's gonna be like, haha, here's a condom out of my pants. Does she still do that spot? Did someone finally tell her that's gross?
I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. Anyway, moving on from that, I have a bone to pick with Kelly on Kelly put together this Mania preview section. Why are you putting WWE WrestleMania 40 Night 1 on here?
Because there's Joshi wrestlers on there, and I thought I didn't want to have to deal with someone being like, well, actually, you didn't get everything.
They're not, they're WWE wrestlers. Also, did you also this says Jade Carroll?
Huh, it sure does. I typed that. I think autocorrect got that one.
Okay, I'm not talking about WrestleMania Night 1. I don't give a shit about this. You also included was Game Changer Wrestling Joey Janela Spring Break Clusterfuck Forever at 10:59 p.m. on Triller, which says there will be an 88-man clusterfuck match, which I believe implies no Joshi.
See, you're gonna have to get some Joshi in there to fill the 88 people.
It says 88 man.
I don't think it's just gonna be man. I think it's gonna be everyone.
Well, we'll see. Currently, the only people announced are Buck Bresner and Dink.
Yeah, and then number 3 is going to be Raku.
Oh, God, I hope not. Keep them away from this, please. And then on Sunday, the 7th of April, Spark Joshi will present Trailblaze 2024 at 2 p.m. Don't believe it's live streaming.
Nope.
Scheduled to appear Saki, Sumi Sakai, Starlight Kid, Masha Slamovich, and Rina Yamashita. The match is announced. Aja Kong and Tam Nakano will take on Mina Shirakawa and Janai Kai. Guess the finish. That one. Also, there will be a 3-way match. Kyoko Inoue will take on Azumi and Danny Moe in another guess the finish of that match. There. Ram Kaicha will defend the Spark Joshi Pacific title against a mystery opponent. And then Mayu Iwatani and the winner of a tryout on April 5th will take on Konami and another winner of the tryout on April 5th. So we'll have to see who those people are.
What a bizarre show. I really hope this makes tape.
I think they usually upload to YouTube much later.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's usually what they do.
Okay, good. Because this Kyoko Inoue, Azumi, and Danny Moe might be the single most Fire Pro match of the entire weekend.
Just pick some names out of a hat.
Yeah.
And put them in the match. But that is WrestleMania weekend, and that is what is coming up in Joshi. So it is now time for Kelly's Corner. Kelly, go wild.
I'm just going to advise everyone in the days leading up to WrestleMania weekend with a whole lot of shows, just watch some stuff that isn't wrestling. Cleanse your palate ahead of time. Do something else. Go touch grass, like Stardom World told me to. Go do something else. Have you watched Shogun yet?
No, I've started it.
It's good.
I'm still very early on.
Nice.
All right, but after you watch some other things that aren't wrestling, watch some wrestling so you can join us next time on Jumping Bomb Audio, where we'll be talking Joshi once again. It's been a lovely time. Kelly, thank you for joining, and we will talk to you all later. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Hello, do you like New Japan Pro Wrestling? Are you a Shin Nihon freak? If so, check out the Super J-Cast with Joel and Damon on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
And even if you fucking hate New Japan Pro Wrestling, listen to the Super J-Cast anyway. Not just for our great show reviews, analysis, and pastrami sandwiches, but there's also usually some dick jokes somewhere in the obligatory opening 30 minutes of absolute nonsense we chat about every single week. That's the Super J-Cast for all the best talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, crisps, and pornography.